Welcome to the Train of Thought podcast. My name is Logan DeCamp, and I am a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach.
And I'm Chloe DeCamp, and I'm a certified athletic trainer.
And we are sitting down here today because we want to help you learn and grow so you can continue to do without restriction as you age.
Be sure to listen till the end of the episode so that you can get information that you can apply to your life and follow us for more. Is it going?
Yeah, It's recording.
We're doing it.
We are live.
I kind of feel just as nervous as like the first time.
Why?
That we recorded, because it hasn't been. We've been gone for a minute.
We have been gone for a minute.
Yeah. As soon as you hit record, my anxiety came back a little bit.
Why have we been gone for a minute?
Because October was very crazy and busy.
We
pre-recorded some stuff preemptively, but then by the end of the month, we were like, that was a lot, and we don't have time to do anything.
Yeah. I think we stopped recording because one, we got busy, but two, we just kind of lost what we're doing here.
Lost our focus.
Like, what's the purpose and what's the mission?
Purpose and mission.
Yeah. Which, do you remember what that is?
It's a great question.
Pop quiz.
Word for word, no, I don't. But like, I know that we're here and we're doing something important about it.
Doing something important. That's right. Yeah.
Facts. Do you want to tell us about your yummy smoothie?
It does not. Yes, it's really, really good. I'm not allowed to drink it though because apparently I.
He smacks his lips.
Well, you said I do num is what you said it was.
That's not what I said. That doesn't need to be public knowledge. That's kind of what you do. You smack your lips. So yummy.
Because it's really good.
Yeah.
Anyways, the purpose and mission for our podcast is we're trying to inspire our audience to question, learn, and grow so they can continue to do without restriction as they continue to age. Top of the note.
Like, where'd you find that?
Keep on scrolling.
Sorry. I'm there with you.
Yeah. So that's our mission. But our purpose and like why we're showing up here today is to show more of our authentic selves through conversation. Yeah. Which I feel like we've checked that box already for today. So, and then we also want to, expand and share our thoughts on diverse topics, including studies, trends, and anything else that we have opinions on. So that's our purpose. That's our mission. We kind of lost our focus, especially in October. I traveled for 2 weekends in a row. I was
gone. Well, I was gone with you one of the weekends, and then I was gone one weekend.
So you traveled 2 weekends too?
Yeah, but there was a gap.
Yeah, there's a gap for you.
And then it was like Halloween, and then all of a sudden it's November, and then it's going to be the end of the year, and then it's going to be a whole new year, and time is flying by.
It is flying by. I mean, today's already the 9th of November, which is crazy.
It's scary.
It is really crazy. So with that being said, because it is almost the end of the year, a common theme I see this time of year with our clients is people struggle to get activity, movement, and to be more specific steps.
Yeah.
There's other podcasts. I mean, we're doing like right now inside of our Facebook group, we're doing more trainings around how to help people be more consistent with their fitness goals through the busy holiday season, while still enjoying all the activities and social gatherings and dinner parties. So we have a Facebook group if you want to learn more about that. And maybe we'll talk on this podcast about some things in the future. But today, more specifically, what we were going to do is kind of talk about why you should hit 10,000 steps for fat loss this holiday season. And what you heard there, by the way, was a stutter. I do have a speech impediment, so thank you for your patience and understanding as well too. So should we go ahead and dive into why you should hit 10,000 steps for fat loss this holiday season?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So the biggest things I want to kind of talk about here is where did 10,000 steps even come from? Because I feel like that's just like a standard, especially in the fitness space. Like every coach is like 10,000 steps, 10,000 steps, 10,000 steps, right? And what I found was really interesting is 10,000 steps is more rooted in science, or excuse me, it's more rooted in marketing than science. Let me be more specific. It started as a marketing campaign for the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. There was a Japanese marketing company. I'm going to butcher the name. Maybe you can say it. Yamasa. It created the wearable step counter called the
Manpoke.
There we go.
Something like that. Don't come for us.
Yeah. And by the way, for those that are watching on YouTube, we are looking down at notes, so that's why you see us looking down. But so that step counter, which is called, say it again.
Something. It's just a step counter.
Well, it's what's cool is that
it's Manpoke.
There we go. What's cool
is
that
that up before.
Yeah, we probably should have, but we're rolling with it. We're showing our authentic self, right?
Yeah, that we don't know things. We're uncultured.
Yeah, I'm very uncultured, but which translates to 10,000 steps is what that step counter does. Okay, so in the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, a Japanese marketing company, they created a step counter. Which translates to 10,000 steps. And the marketing team thought 10,000 steps sounded like a solid, achievable number. And it wasn't promoting a specific Olympic sport with the 10,000 steps, but rather it was aimed to help boost general public fitness awareness ahead of the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. Yeah. So in Japan at the time, they were experiencing a boom in the fitness space, and the country wanted to encourage its citizens to adopt a more active lifestyle. It wasn't until like around 1990s and early 2000s when the 10K step goal started to become popular here in America. This was at the time the introduction of fitness tracking devices that made counting steps more popular. The American Heart Association, they also began to emphasize the importance of regular activity to combat rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. And then the 10K step goal, as you guys know, has really just been stuck around. It's become a solid benchmark for people. And I'm sure you hear it all the time. Did you get your steps today? Did you get your 10,000 steps? So I wanted to kind of dive into, like, is there anything magical about 10,000 steps? Because I've never really thought about that. Because I feel like there's benefits in getting 8,000 steps a day at least, right? I mean, there's still benefits to getting close to 10,000, but I was curious to see what the science says. And it looks like you did some research on this. I would love to see what your thoughts are.
I did just a little bit of research, and the studies that came up were basically saying most of them were kind of systematic reviews, and then another one was a meta-analysis, just meaning that it compiles a bunch of different studies and basically gives you the information of what all the different studies said on average and what was legit or not and things like that, and give you the numbers, right? There was one that was a lit review that basically said it was called Daily Step Goal of 10K Steps. When there's a deficit in daily steps, both sports and home activities can be used to supplement daily steps to reach the daily step goal. So that was interesting. It was talking about as 10K being the standard, but saying that sometimes we can supplement, not just necessarily you have to go on walks, you have to walk further, you have to just walk around the office all the time. There's, if you go and work out and do other type of activities, you can also kind of count that into your steps, right? Especially sports wise, I'm going to go play soccer recreationally or something, that kind of accounts into that. The more is better, of course, in, grand scheme of things. If you hit 10K and play sports, then great. But sometimes that's really not feasible. And now that the sun is gone majority of the time in the winter, that makes it a lot harder. And it's colder out. You don't want to go out on walks. It just makes it harder, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's something that I normally tell clients whenever they come in is, what was your movement like last week, right? I'm not did you get your 10,000 steps last week? What is your movement? Because all in any movement is valuable.
Exactly.
So,
Another study I looked at, this one was done in 2020. It was a systematic review of the association of daily step counts with risk of mortality, death, essentially, right? And cardiovascular disease and dysglycemia. I should have looked into dysglycemia a little bit more. Let me Google it really quick. I didn't look at what that is. Hold on.
Isn't glycemia due with blood sugar?
Mm-hmm. I want to say dysglycemia
is like helps regulate blood sugar.
It's a general term for abnormal blood sugar levels.
That makes sense.
So it's like including both hyperglycemia and hypoglycemia, meaning high blood sugar and low blood sugar. So it's just kind of like everything that's kind of in between there. Jeez,
so it helps regulate blood sugar better.
Yes. And so this took about 17 different studies across 30,000 adults. And different studies discussed different things. So like 5 studies looked at like all-cause mortality, like all causes of death, right? Another 4 focused more on the cardiovascular risk, all that stuff, right? And they said that, there's no difference between like they're saying age, sex, health conditions, or behaviors. They consistently demonstrated that walking an additional 1,000 steps a day can help lower all-cause mortality and cardiovascular disease morbidity and mortality in adults, and health benefits are present below 10K steps a day. So it was basically saying if you add another 1,000 to what you're already doing, maybe you can start getting benefits. But then it says you can get some of those benefits even below the 10K. But unfortunately, in this study, it said that it was lacking data for a minimum threshold, meaning that minimum amount you need to be able to get those benefits. So I think because these types of studies are harder to kind of like comb through, it's taking general like data from all these multiple different studies. I mean, it was like 17 different ones. And you got to kind of take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Like, okay, that's interesting. They're compiling as much as they can, but there are always things lacking in data, right? And so
hold on real quick before you move forward on that.
Yeah.
So just to get clarity on that, the study was lacking data in terms of finding what is the minimum amount of steps needed to get those benefits.
Yes.
But they saw some benefits in terms of regulating blood sugar better, lowering your risk of heart disease, and lowering your risk of all-cause. Well, is it all-cause mortality?
That's what it said.
Oh, that's huge. Just by adding at least another 1,000 steps to your day. But again, it's lacking in terms of finding the minimum.
What's that needed, minimum?
Right.
And what is their, what's the average of who they took from, I mean, it was a pretty big amount of
you
people.
Said it was a
30,000
review,
adults.
Right? And to be clear for people who don't know what a systematic review is, it's a collection of many different studies, right? So they're looking at
basically
like not just 1, 2, like they're looking at multiple different studies.
Yeah.
So a systematic review is a really trustworthy
It's helpful
source.
And just, from the, trying to look at where all these studies were from. It was kind of hard for me to find like really good ones. And so I try to stick towards like some of those ones because they'll give me a lot more generalized kind of data to talk about.
Real quick, we move forward again. I like that you pointed out adding 1,000 steps can help at least get some of those benefits, because when people come to us and they're not getting 10,000 steps, let's say they're getting 5,000, it can feel like a very daunting task to go from 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
So I always just challenge them, how can you get 1,000 to 2,000 more steps? And I consistently work with them over a period of time to get more and more, but we always start small and kind of build that momentum from there. So for those that are listening in, just know that if you're not getting lots of steps now, just think about, okay, what is the total amount you're getting now? And for the next week, can you add 1,000 to 2,000 steps more a day? And make sure you stick with us, because at the end, we will be going over tips and tricks to still get movement in your steps in through the busy holiday season and through the cold winter months as well too.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important to note that baby steps are important, literally. Where it's like taking small little goals and then translating that so that you can get a better outcome, right?
Right.
One last study that I was looking at, it was a meta-analysis, kind of similar to those other reviews. It looked at 15 international cohorts, so group of people. It was looking specifically at what the optimal number of steps are, and kind of looking at the difference between age, sex, walking volume, and pace, and all of that stuff. And they kind of looked at it based on specifically age, which, I thought was really interesting. So one little tidbit, it said mortality risk levels off for older women 62 or older at 7,500 steps per day. And nationally, they took another sample of US and Norwegian adults 40 years or older, and saying that those risk levels will kind of like even off at about 8,000 to 12,000 steps a day. So the older adults may need less steps to be able to get those benefits. And I wish I could understand really why. I don't really have a good why for that. I could probably look more into that.
Because science.
Yeah.
Science.
But I think at that point, I mean, we kind of already know that when you are in an older age group, things slow down, and it's harder, our bodies tend to slow down, and that's just, physiologically how it goes, right? And so needing less steps to be able to achieve, these benefits is pretty understandable in my eyes. So
yeah.
Something to take into the account there. And it also mentions, some type of threshold there of 8,000 to 12,000, which I think is a big range. Obviously, if you're hitting 12K a day, then you're doing way more and you're very active. I mean, you could probably speak to that. Whereas 8,000 seems a little bit more manageable. Like we were saying, like if you're only at like 5,000 and trying to reach to an 8,000, that's not as big as a jump of 10K.
Interesting.
And that's where I am on that side of the range. I work in an office, and it's really hard to get my steps if I'm not really conscious and aware of it. And if I'm not planning on going on walks in the afternoons or after work, because now it's dark at 5:00.
Right. I like that you mentioned 8,000 steps in there. I'm not sure exactly why, but a benchmark at Champ Camp we encourage our members to do is to get at least 8,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
I've just seen working with people that if they're at least getting 8,000 steps, they're at least getting some sort of movement in throughout the day.
Yeah.
Because getting less than 8,000, you're probably going to be more sedentary. You're not moving as much.
Mm-hmm.
So a benchmark we normally shoot for is 8,000. We don't always really shoot for 10, but if you do 10, great. So that's cool that they're seeing benefits for the 8,000 steps as well too.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. So just kind of summarize here. Walking can be beneficial for many reasons, it sounds like. And some of the ones that I wanted to just highlight here as well. I didn't even plan on talking about this, but walking is also what we call zone 2 cardio, which I don't want to kind of get too in the weeds because there's lots of complicating information out there on zones and heart rate and stuff. But zone 2 cardio has been shown to increase your aerobic capacity, meaning you're going to be able to. So let's say, for example, you do back squats and you're just huffing and puffing doing 15 reps. If you are doing zone 2 cardio, at least about, I'm trying to remember the exact amount a week. I believe it's like, I don't know the number, so I don't want to put a number out there, but typically is about 30 to 60 minutes, 2 to 3 days a week is what I believe is what the research says. If you're doing zone 2 cardio, which could be walking at a faster pace, that could help you not feel like you're so gassed on your back squats. So it's gonna improve your performance in the gym. Like for me personally, I've noticed that just doing more zone 2 cardio with my runs, I don't feel nearly out of gas. Like doing a lunge, I hardly ever get out of breath anymore. And I used to be huffing and puffing on my lunges and on my squats, but just doing zone 2 cardio really can enhance and take your performance to another level.
Mm-hmm.
And it can also boost your recovery. It can help regulate blood sugar better. if you've never done a 15-minute walk right after a meal, try that, because it's going to help with your digestion. It's going to regulate blood sugar. It's going to get that food moving into where it's going to be able to digest easier. And you're going to feel more focused, it's going to be more energetic. It also can help increase longevity. It can reduce stress and anxiety. It can also boost your immune function as well too. And there's tons of other benefits out there, right? So there's plenty of different benefits that come with just like movement and walking and steps.
Yeah. I want to just touch on that. If there's any like interest in kind of diving into the why behind that, I could have definitely grabbed some studies more specific to that. I was kind of looking more at like, okay, why are we doing the 10K, and like, you know, looking at that. But based on like scientifically, like how your body works, on how this helps. If anybody wants to know about that, I can definitely look into that.
Yeah,
but it is complicated, and that's where, you know, sticking to the concept of like it's zone 2. But I think it ties back to some things that we've talked about before, like adaptations and things like that, where moving your body and, you know, making sure that your cardiovascular system is working in a certain way frequently, it'll then start adapting to what you're putting on it. And now you're going to be able to do those other things even better, because now your heart and your lungs can do it better. You're working different muscle fibers, and they're activated when they're walking for long periods of time, things like that. So that's kind of the...
And I want to point out, so I'm not sure how long into this now, but recognize that not once have we said, get your steps in to burn more calories. I feel like that's a common misconception. I mean, yes, walking does burn calories. Do not get me wrong. It does. And it can help speed up your metabolism, because you're going to be burning more calories throughout the day by getting your movement in. But I look at steps and movement as it is improving your overall health and well-being. It's not necessarily a tool to burn more calories. I mean, yes, that is a big component of it, and it does help burn more calories, but there's so many other benefits that comes with your health and wellness by just getting more steps and more movement in. So I just want you to really pay attention to that. Don't walk because it burns all these calories. Walk because you're going to, you know, boost your health and well-being. You're going to lower your risk of getting diabetes. You're going to increase your longevity. You're going to boost your performance in the gym. You're going to boost your recovery. You're going to help reduce stress, right? Like all these other benefits that come with movement and walking is so much more valuable than just walking to get steps in. Walking to get steps to burn calories.
Yeah. It's all, I think it always ties back to your mindset on like why you're doing things. And we should probably do a episode about that, in terms of like, why are you working out? Is it to burn all of your calories, or is it because you care about your body and you know, whatever.
Yeah. And it's an endless, like, I don't want to go on a rant here, but it's a endless cycle if you're walking to burn calories, because there's been numerous studies. I think I brought this up on a podcast a while ago, and I mentioned it quite a bit to our clients. They did I'm not sure about the time frame. It was either 5 to 10 years in northern Tanzania. And people over there, like not people over there, but they studied a tribe over there that lived like cavemen, and they hunt for food. They
very basic
like they're walking 10 to 20 miles a day. And you would think because they're walking 10 to 20 miles a day, they would burn all these calories, but their body adapted to that demand over time, and they're actually burning what a sedentary New York office worker would burn, about 2,500 calories a day, which is crazy that they're walking 10 to 20 miles a day, and they're only burning 2,500 100 calories, but that's because your body will adapt to the demands over time. Now, that's not to say because your body adapts to the calorie burn that walking is not beneficial.
Yeah.
Walking, like we just mentioned, all the other benefits that come with movement.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to help increase your metabolism to where you burn more calories at rest. But if you really, really want to burn more calories at rest, the biggest thing you could do is build more muscle, because muscle is a very calorie expensive tissue, where it takes a lot of calories to keep muscle. So
Yeah.
that's a whole different conversation for another day, and I'm going down
a little bit of a tangent. Oh, that's good.
I know. I just want to speak
It's
on
important.
that because I just want people to know that walking is beneficial, not for calorie burn, but for so many other things for health and wellness. So, should we go ahead and dive into how to get more steps?
I can talk a little bit more on that.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Take the floor.
Because you've been talking a lot. I just want to balance it out.
All right.
Like the different ways to get steps in. We have like a little couple points here. So the first one we wanted to note is increase the distance you already walk. So parking further away, at work or at the grocery store. Sometimes I used to get mad at Logan for this, or my dad does this too, but I think that's more of like a parking spot thing. Get the fastest way out, right?
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt, but to be more specific, what I want people to think about here is you already walk a certain amount each day.
Yeah.
Let's say you walk 4,000 steps a day. You will already walk 4,000 steps. So how can you increase the distance of what you all already walking each day?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I had like a burp in there or something. I don't know what happened. Excuse me. Frog in my throat or something. But gross. So, for example, let's say
took over.
I know.
I was talking about this.
I just wanted to point out a specific topic real quick. Then I'll pass the ball back over to you, and then I'll let you continue on this topic.
Your turn.
But let's say that you work on the second floor of the office building. You could go to the first floor to go to the bathroom. You could go to the third floor to refill your water, right? Like you could walk further in your work office building to get more steps in as well,
if that's feasible.
Yeah. If that's feasible?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't waste your company's money. Or do whatever you want.
I mean, it takes what, like 5 minutes?
You could.
What's the old saying? Boss makes a quarter. I don't know. There's like an old saying to that.
Whatever.
Anyways,
we don't have to get into it. I was kidding. I was making a joke.
Sorry. The ball's back in your court.
No, the ball's in your court. Keep going.
Okay. Well, you already mentioned park further away. Yeah. Your dad does that.
You do that.
I do that too.
When it's cold, I complain about it, but I get it. I understand. I get it.
Yeah, we can always put more layers on, though. It's true, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing we have done multiple times in the winter, if we're going out for like a date night or something and it's already dark by 5 o'clock and we want to go on a walk after dinner because we just ate like a big meal or something, we'll go to the mall and walk around for a bit.
We haven't done that in a while, though.
Yeah, but specifically, I feel like we do that in the winter.
Yeah,
or
true.
In the, like, really hot in summer, because then it has AC. So, like, that sounds kind of silly sometimes, but then it's like, even if you don't go and shop, you are allowed to go into the mall and walk around and make laps. It's a really easy way to do it, either in AC or when it's cold out. So
that just made me think of, in my hometown, the mall is not really a mall. It's like, I mean, you've been there. It's got like a clinic in there now. Clinic inside the mall.
Yeah. So if you don't have one, then
which makes no sense. But what I was saying is that mall, it basically turns into a track in the winter, I feel like, because there's no like indoor track in that town because it's so small. And you go there in the winter and there's just people walking all up and down that mall. It's insane. So that's actually a really good point. Like if you can go to a mall in your area, you can easily get some steps in indoor, or search for a indoor track as well too. Which kind of blends in the next point. So 2 30-minute walks a day are 4 15-minute walks a day. So each person is going to average a different amount of steps for the duration of steps walked, depending on the walking speed, stride length, and fitness level. However, on average, you get 4,000 to 5,000 steps with a 30-minute walk if you walk at a faster pace. So 1 30-minute walk in the morning and 1 30-minute walk at night, right after dinner, or 1 15-minute walk right after each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus one extra walk somewhere else in the day. I mean, we're just keeping it super simple. Could you do 2 30-minute walks a day? I mean, one in the morning, one at night. Or could you break it up into 4 15-minute walks? Because that could be an easy way to get 10,000 steps as well, too.
Definitely. Yeah. It keeps it less daunting, too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a 30-minute walk, throw in a podcast, listen to an audiobook. 30 minutes could go by so fast for me if I'm listening to an audiobook that I actually like. Like, it's gone.
Yeah,
and we have a walking trail right by our house. So it's like, that's really nice. If it's not super accessible to you, once again, drive somewhere where there's a park, or on your way home, take a little detour. Usually if you have, everybody can make excuses saying that they don't have the time, but it's a matter of making the time to do it. So
yeah, like making time in the calendar.
Just prioritizing it is important for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I just have mixed opinions on making. I mean, yes, it's important to prioritize the time. I think that's important. You're giving me those eyes. Like, where in the world is he going with this?
Mm.
The only reason why I just have hesitations with making the time is because in the fitness space, when like it comes to working out, there's trainers out there that's like, you have 24 hours in a day, you can make the time.
I'm not saying that.
I know, but that's just kind of like where my brain
I'm
goes.
just saying make it work for you.
Yeah.
In your schedule.
Right.
We're giving you examples, but this may not be like, well, I work a night shift at the hospital, or my hours are 12 hours a day, 4 days a week. I don't have time to do that, or whatever,
Right.
But like you said, bite-sized pieces throughout the day can work. We're giving you examples. So find a way to make it fit in your schedule.
And get the family involved too. I mean, take the kids with you.
If you have a dog,
it's
really easy to go on walks with a dog.
Yeah.
I think I would be better off if we had one, so I can go on walks.
There you go. All right, the third one is, if you are competitive by nature, join a group that host a step goal challenge, or chat with your friends that you'd like to host a challenge for this month, who could have the most steps. Again, if you're competitive by nature, it could be very easy to join a group and see, oh, this person is getting more steps than me, and then you strive to get more, right? Yeah. So that could be something you could do as well too. A lot of
step counters, like watches and stuff, have like goal marks, and you get badges for however far you go, and you can compare it to other friends. I know that with my company that I work for, they do challenges every once in a while, and it's within the office. You can join a team and create teams within the office, and you compete against each other. So you can join in. I mean, it's a fun way to do it. And then you're enjoying, competitiveness within an office or with friends or things. So
really cool.
Yeah.
And then the last thing here is, this is something that I've just seen with our clients, is that they forget that biking, it qualifies as movements, and movement is steps. So there are calculators on Google to help you find how many steps in X amount of miles on the bike. So if you go on lots of bike rides, keep in mind that that's steps. I mean, again, all and any movement is valuable. So if you like to ride your bike a lot, that is qualified as steps. It's not going to show on your watch as steps, but it does count as steps and movement as well too. So.
Yeah, that goes back to that first point that I made with that other study of saying that, sports and home activities can be included into that general step goal. So lots of things to work on there. I mean, I am giving the advice, but I also need to hear the advice on that, because it's very hard for me to get my steps in with the environment that I work in, and I get so tired after the end of the day, and I make all of my excuses and things, and so.
Which I think
starting small is a really less daunting way to go.
Where I was going to go is something that I just made a guide recently that I'm giving to our clients, and our clients are getting good feedback on it. Is dials and being able to have different plans in case plan A falls through. Because, you know,
Yeah.
let's say your plan A is to do 2 30-minute walks, but let's say something at work comes up, you work late. So what is your plan B if you can't get those 2 30-minute walks in? What is your plan C if plan B falls through, right?
Yeah.
I'm just a big believer that that's incredibly important, because when it comes to fitness and nutrition, we are all stuck in all or nothing thinking. Like this is my plan, but if that doesn't work, then, well, I don't have another plan, right? So all or nothing rarely gets you all. It usually gets you nothing. So instead, always something.
Period.
All right. Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment. If you're on YouTube or if you're on Spotify, drop it down below. Please be sure to like this, share it with your friends. Please leave a review. It would go a long way. And we'll be in touch next time.
Bye.
Peace.